Welcome everyone to tonight's session about family values. I'm Brenda Todwong. I'll be your facilitator today. And we have Kali Cohn who's going to be doing the tech for us.
Okay, bonjour. Merci beaucoup de nous joindre.
We're going to hear from Minerva Holmes, a parent
Vamos
educator.
a oír de Minerva Holmes, una educadora.
Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah.
Okay. First, we're going to start with an explanation of HRI Connect. Our session tonight is an initiative from the group HRI Connect, which is a group of immigrants and refugees in DFW working together to build a community that works together better for everyone. Our group envisions a DFW where everyone feels welcomed and embraced regardless of what we look like. Now, it doesn't matter what language we speak, where we were born, or where we come from. We meet once a month to share our experiences, to make plans and strategize. And if you're interested in joining us, please send a message in the chat and we'll share details of our next meeting. One of Connect's priorities is making healthcare more affordable and accessible for everyone. Our goal is to get trustworthy information about keeping our minds and our bodies healthy out to everyone who needs it in the languages that we need. We'll have a health screening event towards the end of the year where we can get the opportunity to screen for various health conditions at no extra cost. We're going to have your questions answered about health conditions. We're going to be sending out a survey, so please look out for a survey that will be sent to you regarding the same. And we will greatly appreciate your feedback. Okay, now I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome Minerva Holmes. Minerva, you're most welcome. I'll hand over the presentation to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Well, welcome and thank you for inviting me. And I hope
Espero que
that will empower us and help us.
J'espère que ce sera une présentation qui va nous permettre de bien comprendre
how we can relate better in our within our family system. So yeah, we can begin now. I'm not sure somebody can...
Sorry, I'm getting the slides up right now. Just one moment.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll tell you a little bit of this presentation is coming from one of 12 classes that is a series. And so this is within the family system. Usually we start off with the individual, and this one in particular is from the family system, and then we go into the disciplines. But this is a wonderful presentation that has been chosen by HRI. So I'm guessing that everybody can see now the PowerPoint. Is that correct? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay. So the title of this presentation is Values and Harmony Within the Family System. Next slide, please. So the objective is to explore family values, to explore how to instill values respecting the different perspectives of each family member, and explore what families do to have harmony in their homes. So when we are aware of our values, it is then that we can have individual perspectives. When we have individual perspectives and they are respected, then there is harmony in the home. And I'm going to ask you to stay there before you change it, okay? Because I want to go into some details here. So values, a lot of times within the family system, we know what our values are. we grew up with them, and then we started practicing them as we grew up. And a lot of times as parents, we expect our children to know what our values are. But what happens sometimes is that we don't tell them what our values are. So we just assume that they know because of how we act and how we interact within the family system, okay? So sometimes what happens with our children or within the family system is that everybody has a different perspective, right? Or opinion sometimes, right? And so what we want is we want to make sure that everybody understands that even within the family system, we can have different values, okay? And rather than clashing, we want to be able to understand the perspective of the other person, the view or the understanding of, okay, why does my child believe this? Rather than, no, you're wrong, that's not
De
what.
decirles, no, estás mal, eso no es lo que creemos.
So then what I like to do with families is I like for us to identify our values, okay? So what are some of the values your family believes in? So this is a great visual that we can have, because as you can see here, it says houses are built with bricks and homes are built with values, okay? So, you know, it's even, you know, when we talk about churches, right? It says, who is the church? The people, right? It's not really, there's a building, but the people is a church. The same with your homes, okay? Who, you know, what goes on inside of that house that is built with, you know, brick or whatever it's built with. It's the family inside that actually builds that home, okay? So you'll see some values here. For instance, love, integrity, loyalty, solidarity, support, communication, faith, comprehension, respect, security. So you have a list of them here. So what I would ask you to do is I would say, okay, look at these values or look at some values that you might have that are not listed here, okay? And I want you to put them in order of importance, okay? So for instance, you know, for me, what would be more important? My faith, and then love, and then respect, okay? So I want you to kind of look at this and see if you can put these in some type of order of importance, okay? Normally what I would do if we were to do this, you know, live in person, what I would do is I would time you. And the purpose of the timing is because if we already know our values, then we can list them quickly, okay? Sometimes we're like, oh, I don't know, maybe love, no, well, maybe respect, no, well, maybe, you know, and so we're struggling with that. And what happens with that is that if we're struggling in identifying what our values are, our children are gonna struggle in identifying the values, okay? Another thing that I do with this simple exercise when we identify the different values is, let's say, sometimes, you know, somebody will say that, you know, and you know, values can be interpreted in different ways. So let's say somebody says, my family is the most important value. It would be family. For moms, more than likely, okay, when we see this list, they'll put family. And in some of the dads, they put work, right? And for our kiddos, what do you think their value is, or the importance that they put on? Anyone want to take a guess?
I'm guessing the mom.
You're guessing what?
The mom?
Mom?
Mhm.
Well, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? But guess what? It's their friends. It's their friends, okay? Unless Brenda, yes, unless we are very well connected and very well rooted, right? You know, we do things together, we celebrate together, we do everything together. Then, yeah, there's going to be that strong connection, okay? So, and this is just an example I'm giving, okay? So let's say, okay, let's just say that as a mom, my value is faith, okay? And I said for my husband, it's work. And for my kids, it's friends, okay? So I want you to understand this in this way. Let's say that if my value is faith, okay, I want my kiddo I have made plans that we are going to participate in the multicultural activity at church on Sunday. Okay. And then my husband, golly, my husband gets an opportunity to work overtime. And this is so important for him because, you know, a little bit of extra money will be good for us. Okay. And then we have the kiddo that's like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to go to that. Can we just stay home? Okay. And so what happens is that we tend to take those values and we tend to misinterpret them. And we tend to say, oh, wait, maybe I should have sat down with my husband and with my child to see if it was okay for us to attend this multicultural, rather than reacting to it and saying, well, going to church isn't important to him, nor to my kid, you know? So we start reacting and we start, you know, creating these stories in our mind, which really don't have anything to do with that. But if I know that, you know, that my husband's value is work right now because we need the extra money, then I'm going to understand that rather than misinterpret it, okay? Next slide, please. So then it says, when we know the values of the family, then we can focus on the rhythm of each family member, of each member of the family, okay? So how do situations look when there is harmony in the family or when there is not any harmony in the family? And what happens is that you can tell when there's no harmony within the family system, it feels chaotic, okay? And when there's harmony, okay, when everybody is, you know, oh, hey, mom asked if we would be interested in going to the multicultural event. I would like to do that. Mom, I got invited to a party. Okay, well, we can go part-time, you know. So we start having this dialogue within the family system, okay? And that's what creates the harmony, because we're respecting each other's perspective. We're respecting each other's values, okay? Next slide, please. So then it says harmony in the home, identifying ways to invite harmony in your homes. So it says give each family member a chance to express
Minerva, I'm so sorry. I accidentally muted you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so identify ways to invite harmony in your homes. Okay, give each family member a chance to express their experiences and perspective. Okay, instead of thinking that each situation is right or wrong. A perspective, okay, is everybody has perspectives. And my perspective cannot be judged as it being wrong, because that's my perspective, right? It belongs to me, okay? Rather, so everybody has perspectives, but we don't necessarily have to follow those perspectives. But what we're doing is we're being respectful and we're giving this person a voice. And we're saying, oh, we hear what you're saying. Tell me more. And what's going to come out is going to come out a narrative that is based on their experiences. Okay? So their perspective is not just because they're saying whatever it is that they want to say. A lot of times it has to do with the experiences they have had throughout their lifetime. So we want to be able to give them that voice. Okay? And then recognize that each member of the family is unique. And you all, if you have teenagers or kiddos that are growing up here in the United States, okay, they're going to have a different experience than what you had in your homeland, if you're not from here, right? And so the perspectives are going to shift, okay? And we're responsible to keeping those values that we bring from our countries. Okay, we as parents are the ones that are responsible in saying, okay, this is why we believe in this. We do this because this is what we believe in. Sometimes, and sadly, a lot of times, we don't know why we believe the things we do. Okay, so there's a story. So there's a story that somebody said a long time ago, you know, when I was learning something. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, so the story was this. There's a whole family, okay, and they're cooking the turkey, okay, and the family says, okay, when you prepare the turkey, you're supposed to, and this is actually my family, okay, you're supposed to bathe it in alcohol and tequila and pineapple juice and all this kind of stuff. Okay. And so my daughters grow up and I'm telling them, hey, you know what? When we bake the turkey, we need to bathe it in tequila and pineapple juice. And then that means it's clean. And my daughters are like, well, what does the tequila do? Or what does the pineapple juice do? Or what, you know, and they're asking me and I don't have an answer for it. And basically what we have done is we have just repeated the story, but we really don't know why we're repeating it. So the same happens with our values, you know, like these are our values, but, you know, are they based on our experiences or are they based on something that we've always heard? And what's happening is that our kiddos are questioning us, you know, or are curious or are asking, and that's when we give our perspective. And that's when we allow them to say, that's interesting, Mom. I'm not sure if I really believe in that. Oh, really? Why wouldn't you believe in that? Tell me more. And then they're allowed to give their perspective rather than, no, that's what we believe in. That's what our family system is. And that's what we're supposed to do. Okay. So when voices are given within the family system, then you're going to find that harmony. Okay. Recognize that each family member is unique. So again, your kiddos that are growing up now in the United States, it's going to be a little bit different for them in what our values are and what their learning values here in the United States are. Okay. And then each unique rhythm, style, and perspective creates a family system. So when they have that voice, okay, this dialogue, there's harmony. There's no judgment. There's no shaming. There's no you're right, you're wrong. Nothing like that. They're being given a voice to express their perspectives. Okay. So it's a lot like this orchestra that's right here. Okay. You see individuals right here. And each individual has an instrument, and each instrument plays a different tune, okay? But when you hear all the instruments playing together with each individual tune, what do you hear? You hear music. You hear harmony. It flows well. Okay. Next slide, please. So they did a study with some families that had children that were successful in life, and they said, "What did you do? What did you do that there was harmony in your household?" And so it says families who have found harmony among their members having comment the following: authority and responsibility. Okay, but this is not an authoritarian way of managing the family. It's kind of like, okay, we're here. We are here to serve as guides, as teachers, because our children are still learning. Okay, they create a plan and put it into practice. In other words, they're not just going to be reactive to what's going on. They made sure they followed through with their warnings. In other words, there was consequences, cause and effect, right? And the effect could be positive or negative. And then there's mutual support between caregiver system. In other words, and this is where sometimes it gets a little questionable between couples, because they're like, well, I tell him something and she comes back and says something else, or vice versa, right? So we need to be able, as parents, as mom and dad, or as adults that are part of this child's experience, life experience, that we back each other up, that we're on the same page. Because once they figure out that we're not on the same page, they're going to take advantage. They're going to do what we call splitting, right? They're going to separate us and go more with this dad or come with this mom, those kind of things. Okay, next. Okay, so I just want to ask real quick, does anybody have any questions before I get into these in detail? Anything that I have said, any question? I know we have time at the end, but sometimes it's a lot of information, so I just want to make sure that we're there. Okay. So let's look into in detail, okay, on each one of these categories that I just mentioned. So authority and responsibility. Be confident that your children will obey and cooperate. Analyze your own attitude, okay? So as a father, I have the authority and I am responsible for my family. As a mother, I have the authority and I am responsible for my family. Ask yourself this: is this true? My actions are in alignment with my affirmations? And I will tell you, sometimes it isn't. And the ones that are running our household are our children, because we don't have that affirmation that, okay, I'm the mom and I set the boundaries, I set the limits, I set the rules, however you want to name them, okay? And they follow them, okay? And when they don't follow them, there's consequences. There's natural consequences or logical consequences, okay? So a natural consequence occurs just naturally. They pull the tail of the cat's going to scratch them. A logical consequence, I'm going to think about, okay, this behavior, he hit his brother, okay, what am I going to do with this behavior? I may have to separate him and go sit with him in the room to see what's going on with him, why he felt he had to hit his brother, okay? So then it says, put it into practice, give them a directive. So many times when we want to, or one of the things that we want to do when we want to be, to show that we are in charge, or that we are the mom or we are the dad, okay, we should give them directives, okay? Don't beat around the bush. Don't say, hey, if you do this, I'll buy you some ice cream, or, no, give them a directive, okay? We will leave the park in 5 minutes, period. You don't have to explain, you don't have to justify, you don't have to do any of that stuff. Okay, you're giving them a directive. The more we talk, the more they're going to hook us in into going back and forth. Okay. Victoria, that is dangerous. Please get down from the tree. Okay. Rather than, if you get up on the tree, you know what can happen. You can fall and you're going to break your leg, and then I'm going to have to take you to the doctor. No, be direct, short and direct. Okay. If it is necessary, you may give him a condition. When you are done with your homework, you may go play outside. Or after you have wiped down the table, you may have dessert. Rather than, you are not going to go outside until you do your homework. Okay. What we're doing there is we're causing a reaction. Okay. And so what they want to hear, what our children want to hear first, is that they will be able to do what they feel is absolutely necessary to them or what they want. They want to hear that yes first, and then, you know, you redirect them. Okay. So again, when you are done with your homework, okay, this is backwards here. You may go out. This actually is an old PowerPoint. Okay. So let me say this the correct way. So if you're taking notes, do it this way. You may go outside when you are done with your homework. So I'm telling him that, yes, you're going to get to go play, but you need to be done with your homework. Okay. You may eat dessert after you have wiped down the table. So they're hearing the yes first. So they're not going to be reactive to that. Okay. Okay. Next slide. Create a plan and put it into practice. Okay. Many families do not have a disciplinary plan that is effective. We tend to try to manage the challenging behavior or the talking back or anything like that right at the moment. Sometimes, for instance, one example would be, let's say the kids, when they come in from school, I have two kids, they run to the television and they're already fighting over the television, and they haven't even been home 5 minutes. Okay. So one of the things that I do is I'm already going to have a plan. If I see that this is a pattern, I'm going to have a plan because I know they do this every day. So what I'm going to say to them is I'm going to say, hey guys, you know what? And I'm not going to do it when it's happening. Okay, I may do it after dinner. And I may say, hey guys, you know what? I've noticed in the past week that you run straight to the television and you're fighting about who's going to watch what first. So guess what? We're going to need to create a schedule. We can work at it together, or I'm going to make the schedule. You know, you give them that opportunity. Okay. So then it says many families do not have a disciplinary plan that is effective. In many occasions, when an unexpected problem arises, parents do not know how to react. So what do? We yell, we spank, anything that causes us to react, we're going to respond to that reaction. This is a problem because it is in these moments that both parents and children are upset and sometimes fearful, making it hard to make good decisions. Okay, guys, without getting too deep into the brain, okay, it's really talking about the prefrontal cortex is this part of the brain, okay, the frontal lobe, okay? Basically, that's where we make good decisions, good choices. That's where all the neurons connect, okay? When we're reacting from the amygdala, okay? That's where, all our emotions come out. Okay, so basically that's what it's saying. When we're trying to redirect or we're not, we don't have a plan, we tend to go to the amygdala and just react with our emotions. And that's when that's sometimes where relationships get broken or get, are harmed because we'll say things, when we function from the amygdala, we say things that we really didn't want to say, but we were functioning with the emotion. We were functioning with being mad or frustrated or whatever emotion we were feeling. So we end up saying things because we didn't think, okay, if I say this to them, it's going to hurt them. And actually, sometimes, we do say, okay, I want him to hurt. I want him to really think that what he did was bad, shaming them, right? When in reality, okay, it breaks a relationship. So it's always better to create a plan when you're seeing a certain behavior occurring, so we can avoid functioning or correcting from that part of the brain that causes us to say things or do things that we really don't want to do. Okay, next slide. So following through with warning.
Entonces, siendo
We okay? Okay. So following through with warnings. Think about how many times you have to ask them to comply with your instructions. Okay. How many times are we telling them, Bobby, quit bugging your brother? I told you to quit bugging your brother. Do I need to send you to your bedroom so you can calm down? Just leave him alone. What is wrong with you today? Please stop that. Bobby, that's enough, until we're yelling, right? Next slide, please. So this is known as the 10-in-1 instruction. Children know that they have at least 10 opportunities to disobey. So let's count it down to 1, 2, 3. And I always tell families, it's not the 1, 2, 3 this. It's not that 1, 2, 3 look. It's not the 1, 2, 3 toss the chancla at them, you know, for my Spanish mamas that are here, right? It's not that 1, 2, 3, okay? It's the 1, 2, 3 where it's step 1, step 2, and step 3, okay? First, you give them a clear directive. Second, think about the consequence you will apply and warn your child about it, okay? And 3, follow through with the consequence you said you would apply. So this is what it sounds like, okay? That same Bobby, okay, is now bothering his brother, right? So Bobby, quit bugging your brother, period. I told him what I need for him to do. It's a directive. Bobby, if you continue that behavior, you will need to go play in the bedroom. So I've already given him now the consequence, okay? And then, if obviously here, Bobby's still bothering his brother. I asked you to quit bothering your brother. It's necessary that you go play in your bedroom, okay? So you've given them a directive, you've given them the consequence, and you follow through with a warning, okay? And so with this, okay, I want you to notice something, okay? And this is real important, because sometimes what happens with the warnings or the consequences, we don't know how to make or how to give a consequence that goes with the act, okay? So what some of us would do here is, you've been bugging your brother, go to your room and you're not gonna watch TV for a whole week. That doesn't go with the consequence, with the act, okay? So what we did here is we just asked him that we just told him that he was gonna have to go play in another room. We're not gonna take the play away from him. We're gonna have him play somewhere else, because the problem is that he's not getting along with a brother. And when he has to play by himself in the other room, he's gonna self-regulate. He's gonna come back to me and say, when he realizes that he doesn't like playing by himself, and he's gonna say, Mommy, okay, I'm ready to play with my brother. And that's what we want them to be able to do. We want them to be able to self-regulate, to know that whatever action they took only affected them. So then they're gonna come back and say, can I go play with my brother now? And I'm not gonna say no, because you were hitting him and you were bugging him. No, that's not necessary. We're gonna say, okay, you're ready, let's try again. And we let him go play with his brother, okay? Next slide, please. Mutual support between caregivers. Occasionally, parents have differences on how to manage the misbehavior. Yes, true or not, right? Analyze the situation. Where is it happening? If it is happening in the home, try to discuss the situation in private and not in front of your kids. Once they see you going back and forth, they're going to take advantage of that. They're going to say, our parents can't even figure it out. Okay? If it happens outside of the home, you and your partner should pull to the side and decide what action you need to take. If the child reacts, follow the 1, 2, 3 technique. Children must observe that both parents, caregivers, are on the same page with the decision they are making and that you are going to back each other up. And this is what it looks like, okay? Victoria, okay, we're gonna go to a party, a family party. And so I tell Victoria, I've known, that's my daughter, by the way. She's 24 now. She's not little anymore. I'll tell her, Victoria, I've noticed that every time you get together with your cousins, you have a habit of getting out of the party and going and walking around the block and hanging out. I'm telling you, I need for you to stay in, in the party. If you decide to leave, you're deciding to go home and leave the party. Okay. My husband knows this already. Okay. So now we have a plan. Well, guess what? Victoria decided to leave with her friend, with her cousins, thinking, oh, they won't see us. There's a lot of people. They're not going to notice we're gone. And guess what? We did notice she was gone. So now when she comes back, I'm going to say, hey, you know what? When you decided to get out, leave the party, you decided that we were going to go home. But by this time, okay, Dad and I already have made a decision of who's going to go home. Who's going to go home with her? Okay, is it going to be Mom or is it going to be Dad? And guess what? Sometimes because the party's so good and Dad is with the guys and Mom is with, chit-chatting with all the ladies, we don't want to go home, so we let it fall. We let it pass. And so then there's no consistency in managing the behavior because they know we're not going to follow through. Okay, next slide, please. So what do you all see here? Anybody? What do you see? Is anybody answering? This is something that I need an answer for, at least from one person or two, so it can work. Anybody? Can you tell me what you see within that block?
Una mancha negra.
A spot, a black spot.
A dark spot. Anybody see anything else other than a dark spot? Spot, dot, full stop. Okay. Okay. So I have a question.
Blanco con un punto negro.
Okay.
A white square with a black dot.
Square with a black dot. Okay. So why do we zone into that black dot if there's more white around it? Why don't we zone in on the white, on the bigger space, than on that black dot? Because sometimes that's how we look at things. Okay, we just zone in on all these misbehaviors or no, you're right, you're wrong, and on those kind of things, rather than, next slide, please. Noticing, okay, everything that, all the beauty that is surrounded, all the different perspectives that are in our everyday lives within our family system, okay? And when we start looking at perspectives and trying to figure out, okay, what gave her this perspective? What experience gave her this perspective? And start seeing the world and our own world too, that little spot, that little black point, okay, it's not that noticeable anymore because we see the beauty of everything that can occur within our family system. Just by understanding what our values are and why the perspectives are that we have, where they come from. Okay. That is it.
Okay. Thank you so much, Minerva, for sharing your time with us today. And thank you everyone for coming. We will send out a copy of the slides after the presentation. Please remember, if you're interested in joining our group, HRI Connect, the link is going to be in the chat. Kali is going to put the link for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and have a great night.